Gnostics were early followers of the Way, who believed that the followers of the one God should not merely revere Christ, but strive to emulate him in every thought, word, and deed. They sought to describe this emulation in philosophical terms, as a method of practice. As the early Roman Church formulated its canons, the Gnostics were considered willful heretics, opposed to turning their lives over to God as a matter of faith. To become a true believer, the early church leaders claimed one had to forego understanding and analysis of Christ's teaching and be content to live life through the divine revelation in Scripture, adhering to God's will moment by moment. The churchmen did this, in my opinion, in order to sustain their control over the people. They wished to keep God's message and overall plan from the public, so people would be deceived into thinking that they had to go to the churchmen to find God, rather than learning to look within and find the divine within themselves, as Christ's true teachings and message to the world had been. The Gnostics' methods were intended to actually facilitate this act of letting go to God's will that the church was requiring, rather than giving mere lip service to the idea, as the churchmen were doing. They knew that the only way that one could obtain the faith and wisdom required to enable this letting go to God's will, revelation in Scripture, adhering to God's will moment by moment. In the end, the Gnostics lost and were banished from all church functions and texts, along with some of the more revealing Gospels, like the one by Thomas, which were destructive to the churchmen's doctrine. An excerpt from the Gospel of Thomas, a non-canonical scripture from the Nag Hammadi scrolls, follows. Chapter 1. These are the coded words which the living Jesus spoke, and Didymus Judas Thomas wrote. And he said, "Whoever finds the explanation of these words will not taste death." Jesus said, "Let him who seeks the truth not cease seeking until he finds. And when he finds, he will be troubled by the truth about himself and by the rest of the world, who, like himself, are drunk on Satan's lies." It's a quote from Revelations 12:9. "And when he has been troubled, overcomes himself and the world, he will marvel, and he will reign over and have knowledge of the all. If you will know yourselves the truth about who and what you really are, a human and a being, then you will be known. People will see that you are different, and you will know that you are the sons of the living Father, adopted children of God, according to Matthew 23, verse 9. But if you do not know yourselves, and believe that you are only human, then you are in poverty, and you are poverty." Jesus said, "The man old in days, old in human years, will not hesitate, if he is truly humble, to ask a little child of 7 days with complete knowledge of God about the place of life, the truth, and he will live." For many who are first to find the truth and who have learned the most shall become last, and shall pass on what they have learned to those who know the least, and because those who know the least have the greatest need, the first will take a back seat, becoming last, in order to allow the last to be taught first, and they shall become a single one, eventually knowing the same. Jesus said, "Know what is in thy sight. Learn to see things from a God's point of view, and what is hidden from thee will be revealed to thee. For there is nothing hidden that will not be manifest."
Vote